there, folks. It's me, Michael Bach, your diversity dude, and it's time for another episode of Monday Morning Musings. Don't do that again. That was a mistake. And I want to talk about something that is not necessarily diversity related, but kind of diversity adjacent. And that's voting. So if you don't know, this Thursday, June the 7th, Ontarians will go to the polls in a provincial election to elect the next premier and government here in Ontario. And recently I read an article. The headline was, Ontarians who don't like their options can decline to vote. Here's how. Now, many of you who know me know that I am, I'm on one hand a political junkie, but I'm also politically agnostic. I don't necessarily ascribe to any one of the parties. I'm a person who has his own beliefs, and they don't really necessarily always fit into a box. But this article kind of got me a bit not so happy. So the article goes on to say that there is a section of the Elections Act. It is Section 53, which reads, an elector who has received a ballot and returns it to the deputy returning officer declining to vote forfeits the right to vote, and the deputy returning officer shall immediately write the word declined upon the back of the ballot and preserve it to be returned to the returning officer, and shall cause an entry to be made in the poll record that the elector declined to vote. Okay. And Democracy Watch, which is a think tank advocacy group, wants Ontarians to know that if you don't like the leaders, if you don't like the candidates, that you have the right to decline to vote. Okay, here's the problem with that. As far as I'm concerned, that's the same with scratching a ballot. Same with, writing in a name. It's the same as not going to the polls at all. You don't vote. You don't participate in the political process. You are not sending someone to Queen's Park. So let's say you're a centrist who would normally vote Liberal, but because you really don't like Kathleen Wynne, you've decided you're just not going to go. Well, guess what, kiddles? That doesn't mean that the NDP or Conservative isn't going to win. It means that someone's going to win, and it may be someone you really don't like. We saw this in the United States, where after Hillary Clinton won the nomination, people who had been Bernie Sanders supporters said they weren't going to vote because Bernie wasn't the candidate. How did that turn out? Maybe not so good for the Democrats. The political process is really simple. You have a choice. Vote or don't vote. If you don't vote, you don't get a second of time to complain about whoever is elected. If you do vote, vote for the candidate you want to be the candidate representing you. And that's the other part. You don't get to vote for the premier. There is no province where you actually get to vote for your premier or leader. That part of the process is dealt with by the official party wonks in conventions and all that good stuff. You vote for the candidate, you vote for the premier. That's the way it works. So, Democracy Watch, no, don't do that. Get out and vote. Every vote, as far as I'm concerned, is a bit of a plug your nose vote. There's something about every candidate that I like and something about every candidate that I don't like. Not speaking about the current crop of premier candidates, by the way. Get out and vote. It's 10 minutes of your time, but at least your voice will be heard. That's it for me. I hope you're having a fabulous week. On Thursday, June the 7th, you better vote. You better vote. No, I don't. And remember to subscribe to my channel by clicking on the link that is somewhere near my face. And I will see you next week for another episode of Monday Morning Musings.